Hello and welcome back to the Cesspool podcast, where we talk about everything and anything, no matter how disgusting or offensive. This is our seventh episode, and we'll still be introducing ourselves. I'm your co-host Tyler, with my other co-host Joseph.
Today will be a short episode due to Tyler having a tight schedule,
Yes.
so we'll just be talking about a few things, including military, cyberpunk, and Star Wars. Our first topic today will be the military missteps allowed soldiers accused of murder to flee. Reports say, this was in the New York Times article. Pretty much what happened was this woman in the army, specialist Guillen, was murdered, and her remains was found a couple hours after the initial murder. The army investigators actually found the perpetrator, or the suspect at least. His name was Aaron Robinson, and he fled, and then he somehow he escaped, and then he killed himself by shooting, fatally shooting himself.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah. Um, Apparently, specialist Guillen was sexually harassed by Aaron Robinson before he killed her. Her family actually knew that she was being harassed even before this incident. However, they did not want to formally formally send a complaint to the army. So, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's a mess right now. Yeah, what's your opinion on this?
That's a really messed up situation, honestly. I can't understand why.
Yeah, the army won't even, so the army doesn't even want to release like any possible agendas or any possible motives that Aaron might have had to
Mm-hmm.
for killing Gayin, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine why the family, if they knew about this, or they knew that she was being
Well,
harassed.
I'm assuming she was being like, I'm assuming they didn't know she was being sexually harassed. Like, I'm assuming they knew she was just being harassed in general,
Yeah.
right? Like, if it's sexual harass, like I'm assuming that the parents would immediately, or the family would immediately, like formally complain. Um, yeah, which a weird fact actually, or something that happened. Robinson was allowed to have his phone during while he was being detained so that the army can monitor what he was doing.
Okay.
So Robinson actually called his mom and said, "Don't believe what you hear about me." And then right after, like a few minutes after the call, he actually escaped through the door and then found a way to kill himself. So the question is, how did he even escape? Like, right? Like, apparently a lot of the authorities or the leaders there were saying that uh they were like keeping him under surveillance and like guarding him properly, but the fact that this one guy could escape, like, or like couple like groups of soldiers that are guarding this one person can escape and find a way to kill himself is questionable. How does that happen?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it's a very odd situation. Like, you'd think the military is a little bit more competent than that they would, be able to handle something like that. Apparently
Yeah,
not.
that's why. Yeah. That's the problem, is like a lot of people are like complaining, like, why didn't you guys uh be more responsible, and like there was a public outrage actually. A lot of people were mad about Gein's death and how this army was dealing with that. So
Right.
as a result, the army announced on Friday it was punishing 21 soldiers and officers who failed to act on this incident.
Hmm.
um uh, Another important information is actually that Aaron Robinson was accused of unrelated sexual harassment before,
Uh-huh.
so he had a history before. It's weird that, yeah, the why did if she had I mean if he had a history of sexual harassment, and he apparently killed this woman, he
Yeah.
should be under like heavy surveillance. I didn't write it down in our script, but or like our document, but in the article it says that like the authority there, or the superior that ranking officer was like saying, if he, tries to escape, like tackle him and, get his ass.
Yeah,
Like, so he was, so like the superior was like, obviously taking it super seriously. But it's weird that if the authority is taking this super seriously, how does one escape a group of people?
clearly the chain of command was not very well established,
Yeah.
or there was like a lack of, I don't know. I mean, were the people who were like guarding him, were they people who knew him? Were they just
Well, they don't actually explain that, but I'm
right?
assuming that the fact that there's 21 people being punished for it, it means that there was a big group, there was a team of soldiers that were supposed to guard this guy, but then he, killed himself, so these 21 people are responsible for what happened.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. Other than that, like, this is not just an issue with the military, of course. Like, a lot of people are making comparisons with the George Floyd and the Me Too movement, which is completely, understandable, since Gayin was, a female she was a minority and a female. So the fact that the, army kind of dealt with this poorly, can fuel groups of people into outrage.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily. It's not like the army's fault necessary. Like, and by the army, I mean like the establishment itself. It's really not.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
say it's like the commanding officer's fault, because clearly he entrusted his own men to
Yeah.
do the job, and they just didn't
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. And I think that really the blame needs to fall more directly on the middleman, which in this case is the guards or whoever the heck was watching him,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
because they're the ones who didn't do their job. It's kind of as simple as that. You can't
Yeah.
charge the guy who's dead, uh, you know, with murder and sexual assault. And I'm not saying that you need to charge the guards with it, but someone needs to take the blame for it. And at this point, they're pretty much the only scapegoats.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when they're mad, they usually just blame the entire company, or
Right.
kind of kind of attack the bigger one of them, um instead of who are actually responsible.
Which is
I don't know.
unfair. That's an
Yeah, it's
unfair.
unfair, of course, but it's also understandable for them to be mad at the army in general, because it can be like their argument would be, if this is happening, right, where like a guy that killed his fellow soldier gets away with murder and then just kills himself, then
Right.
how, like, what if this happens like regularly and we just don't know about it?
That is a very good point. I mean, the
Yeah, so
army,
I mean,
yeah,
I agree with what you're saying, is like blame the people that are actually
responsible.
responsible
Right.
for what they've done. But there are people, victims, and the family of Guillen would probably blame the army itself as well. Like, be
Yeah.
like, how
No.
did you not,
Hmm.
know, or how did you not make a, rule, or something in place to keep that from happening?
Right. And I completely understand that, and I expect them to like actually take action and
Hmm.
make some changes in the way they do things there, especially towards female service people,
Hmm.
because it's completely unacceptable at this point.
Yeah. What's
Um,
weird is that the
mhm.
army isn't. It's, to me, the two most like weird things about this is that the army won't discuss like the possible motives of what Robinson has done.
Yeah,
Because usually, I'm assuming they would talk about it, right? Like, they would talk about like, oh, this might have happened between these two, or something like that.
yeah. I mean, there might
Um,
be something that, I mean, clearly there's probably something that we don't know.
yeah,
It's not as simple as the story that we already that's being told.
yeah.
It's probably more complicated. for better or for
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, the fact that Robinson called his mom and said, "Don't believe what you hear about me," is like really weird.
It is. Well, I mean, a lot of times criminals don't want their families to, think of them as bad people, but like
Mm.
it is weird. It's also very strange that he was allowed to like have communication while he was.
I think that was. I mean, they were
I
monitoring him,
well, yeah,
so
but it's just weird. You don't do that. You don't give someone who you've detained access to.
well,
I mean,
yeah.
it's strange
I'm
because
yeah.
you know.
I guess it was
Mhm.
to find out like if he was gonna actually confess through the phone
I
or.
guess, yeah, I could see that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
It's a
this
risky
whole
thing.
situation is really weird. The fact that he was able to escape is a question to that raises questions. The fact that how did he yeah like why was he given a phone? Stuff like that. Like there's a lot of this like entire scenario was really weird in the way that it was being handled. Uh, the fact that he had the ability to have a phone. Like this whole situation. That's why I chose this article was because it was so weird.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, you don't hear about this stuff a lot, honestly,
Mhm.
because there's always like a lot of other crazy stuff going on. But this stuff
Yeah.
is always interesting. Like military crimes are always interesting, and by military I mean like within one military, not like war crimes. That's
Yeah.
different. But like they're always very strange because the perception of the military is that it's like this well-oiled machine, and everything is
Hmm.
always in control. But it's really, I mean, everybody in there are people, and there's good and bad people, and as much as
Yeah.
they might stay in line, uh, they won't forever. I guess I don't.
Yeah. That's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you want to move on? Because we have. I don't have much. Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
it's
have
been a
much
slow
else to
week.
talk
It's
about.
been a fairly slow
Yeah.
week.
Honestly, this is not our fault. All right. The world is actually settling down a little bit.
Yes,
There's less issues to be talking about, which is
that's a good
that's
thing.
great.
It is a good
That's a
thing.
good thing. Yeah,
Actually,
maybe we should put in a new section just for something else.
something actually that I was reading about that I thought was kind of interesting because it's talking about. I know we've gone over stuff like our issues with our energy like electricity and stuff like that. But I read an article today that I don't know if we talked about that. We might have already talked about this about the nuclear power plant shutting down. Did we talk about that?
No.
So there's a nuclear power plant north of New York City, about I think they said like 20 miles or 30 miles or something,
Yeah.
and it's shutting down. Today is the official shutdown day of it. It's called. Hold on, looking it up. Okay, it's called Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant. It's in Buchanan. It's in the town of Buchanan, New York, and it's shutting down today for the final time. And
Why?
so the argument is that because it's so close to the city, if there were to be a nuclear accident, it would be like
Mhm.
really bad. Uh, but the counter argument is that it's providing a very, very large chunk of green energy. So and a lot of people, obviously the people in the town, and a lot of environmental activists are actually saying, this is not really the way to do it because when they're shutting down a nuclear plant, what's going to replace it? It's just going to be more, carbon emissions, uh, gas-fired power plants, and
Yeah.
this is nuclear power plants produce like a ton of power, and this
Mhm.
place produced 25% of New York City's power. So
Yeah.
losing it is going to be like a big. That's a big yikes. And the governor of New York.
I think that's also like
Yeah,
a like just overall people have like this stigma or this stereotype about power plants, right? Where like they're like, oh, Chernobyl and all that.
yeah.
Like the nuclear power plants apparently produce like, like freaks of nature, or like the leak will kill people and stuff.
Right.
So I think yeah, the PR for this is not very, helpful.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to replacing nuclear power, but the problem is that if you're going to do it, especially people who are environmental activists, and the ironic thing is that like the New York governor, he's like he made a claim like that he wants to have New York be all green energy by like 2035 or something, and
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen without nuclear power. It's just not. You can't.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's an issue with just it's like a lot of like people don't are scared of nuclear power. They're like, "Oh, this is not very safe or whatever." Which is not true actually. The nuclear power plants are actually quite safe. It's just when, once in a while it might, make a mistake or.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Chernobyl was in the 80s,
Mhm.
and it was a very poorly manufactured plant in Soviet Ukraine.
Yeah,
So it's not going to be up to the safety standards of a modern day
exactly.
facility. Although to be
Hmm.
to be fair, Indian Point was a pretty old power plant, but
Hmm.
it was well built, and it's never had a nuclear
Yeah.
accident or anything like that. So
Hmm.
it has a fairly good safety record. Um,
Yeah. But I think the thing is
mhm,
is like you always need a solution if you're gonna replace something,
right.
right? So let's say yeah, you are decommissioning this power plant.
Hmm.
But this power plant, I'm assuming, is powering a lot of energy. It's
A
giving a
lot.
lot of energy for a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what are you going to replace that with? And if you don't have an answer, that's not really helpful. Like if, you know, people who believe like, oh, power plants are bad and like it's bad for the environment, which doesn't make sense. But there's some people that don't, feel like it's good for nature or eat the ecosystem, and they'll be like, yeah, having the power plant gone is really amazing. I'm be like, how are you going to replace it then? And they don't have much of a answer.
Yeah, that's honestly the number one problem is that we don't have a replacement for like that much power other than fossil fuels basically.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's
it's like
mm-hmm,
it's like then they're like, you have two options to make a lot of energy. One is fossil fuels, which are gonna be destroying the earth, or you can use nuclear power, which is clean, and it produces a lot of energy. And they're just like, nope, we're not going with nuclear power because it's scary.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is one. There's just the stigma of it being scary, which is
I
unfair.
mean, there's like, yeah, I think that's also like the media just making it scary. Like Hollywood movies, a lot of like, like superpowers come from the power plant, right? Like
Right.
where there's like a freak accident there, and then so yeah, rate yeah, nuclear power plants get a bad rap.
Yeah, no,
But
I
yeah.
agree. And I think losing Indian Point is gonna, well, it's definitely gonna make, the governor's idea of being fully green by it was 2035 or whatever, pretty
Yeah.
unrealistic. It's just not gonna happen. Uh,
What is he gonna do? Make a freaking giant land of solar
yeah,
panels?
which only work during the day
Yeah, exactly.
and don't produce, or like windmills. I know there's some states
Well,
like on the
windmills don't really produce that much.
no, well,
For
neither
the
does
fact that it
solar.
uses, yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's why it's funny.
Yeah, no, it's not realistic.
I'm Do dams make a lot of
Yeah,
energy?
yeah, they do, but like they're very situational. You can't put a dam
Yeah.
anywhere.
We
You
gotta
need to
make a
build
waterfall.
like a river, make an artificial river just to build a dam. Like no, that's no. But
Yeah.
where they're placed, yeah, like like Niagara Falls or the Hoover Dam or whatever. Those produce a ridiculous amount of power, but you know, there's only so many places you can put those, and I'm pretty sure we've used pretty much all of them.
Yeah, unfortunate.
So yeah, that is the funny power story. I don't that was the other thing that I read this week that I thought was funny. Uh,
Yeah,
so that place is shutting down as of the 30th of April. That is the
mm,
shutdown date, which is funny.
that's
Uh,
yep. I
anyway,
think it's sad.
yeah, it is because, and I mean,
Why can't we just have more power plants? Can we just have like an island specifically with just a lot of power plants? Like, I think that's the best idea. We need more energy, and why are we wasting so much space using windmills?
yeah, windmills are just they're not it until you can get like a
We use so
really
much
efficient one.
resources on windmills, and they don't produce that much power.
They don't, and they're very expensive.
Exactly. And then you have to have maintenance on it as well sometimes.
Hmm. And
It's ridiculous.
like people are always freaking out about nuclear power because it uses uranium. It's radioactive. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. But here's the thing: we're getting really close. Like we have the technology to do fusion reaction, which is the polar opposite. You're using literally the most basic like element out there. Like you're using hydrogen, and
Hmm.
instead of breaking down like a uranium element, you're creating you're like adding onto the hydrogen so it becomes like a stronger atom, and eventually it'll make it up to something like uranium, but that would
Hmm.
take like a ridiculously long amount of time. So we're almost there to where nuclear power is safe and literally forever producing, because instead of breaking something
Hmm.
down, it's building something up. So
Yeah.
like I feel like we need to fund something like that more, because that's literally going to give us infinite power. Uh, but no, we're gonna make some windmills. Gonna make some
Yeah,
epic
the
solar
question
panels.
is though,
Yeah.
if we have infinite amount of power, does that mean we get free electricity?
Well,
Which is probably a no. Yeah.
no, because the electric
I wish.
company will claim like, oh well, we need people to
Yeah. We need people to work.
yeah, they
Yeah.
gotta. I mean, I get like, yeah, there's gonna be people who are gonna be at the power plant managing it and all that stuff. I get that, but yeah, no, power bills will kind of and maintenance. I get. I don't know.
It is retarded. Bro, getting basic needs now, we have to pay for those. That's kind of cringe.
Got to pay for water. You got to pay for. I mean, electricity. That's always kind of been the case with that one, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Or you could live out in the middle of nowhere and do it all yourself. I guess that's the other
Yeah.
option. Not
Unless
preferable.
the government finds you.
Well, I mean, like there are people who go off the
Where are
grid.
you gonna go in America that you can evade taxes?
Alaska.
Can you really?
Yeah, you can. Alaska. I mean, if you stay,
Because if you can do that, then Alaska is my favorite state or
there's
territory, U.S.
it's a
territory.
state.
Wasn't it a U.S. territory
It
before?
was, but
Or am I just stupid?
it's been a state
Okay.
for like 50 years.
All right. Okay. Okay.
But like, yeah, no, in Alaska, the thing about it is it's literally half the size of the continental United States, for one. And then for two, there's literally two cities in it. And yeah, three kind of. There's really two, and there's one that's like a larger town,
Mhm.
which also happens to be the capital. But yeah, if you like go out into the wilderness, no one's gonna find you. A lot of people I
Oh
know,
yeah.
like they'll survive living off of like, there's one highway or something that goes through it, or there's one railroad that goes through like all of Alaska or most of Alaska, and that's it.
Mhm.
And that's how they live. They're like, yeah, we get our shipments once a week by truck or by train, and that's it. Besides
That's
that, we're on
epic.
our
I
own.
want to live in Alaska.
I mean, it's an
Well, that's where I'm gonna be.
you gotta know how to survive though, because I mean, those winters are really tough.
Yeah, I assume so. It's up there.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on
Yeah.
to the
Moving
next
on.
topic.
Moving on to some video games. Got gaming news. It's another
Oh
side.
wait, before that,
Yeah.
commercial break.
Oh yes, I need to get a drink.
Yeah, I need to go get water.
It's beverage time.
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Columns free.
Genesis does.
What Nintendo don't? Buy a 16-bit Genesis system between now and October 31st and get an extra game.
And we're back.
Hope you guys enjoyed the ad.
Yes, of course, always. Anyway, back to the news, or the most important news of the day, video game news, as always. It's more Cyberpunk news. That game will never stop being talked about, even in death.
Yep.
But this time, it's more bad news. Pretty much all the news since it released. This is more actually speaking about the company itself. We're talking about CD Projekt Red here, and how their board members are getting big bonuses because of Cyberpunk 2077's launch, while the actual developers of the game are getting nothing.
Oh, dude, that's epic.
So,
Dude, I love that.
now this is a very obvious question, but do you think that these board members deserve this bonus after the launch of the game?
No.
No.
Well, first of all, we already talked about how not the government. Why am I telling the government? The company keeps rushing the deadlines and rushing these developers into doing things. So it's like borderline abuse on the developers. So the fact that the board members are getting bonuses and getting rewards for this thing is infuriating.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, okay, guys, I mean, their bonus is going to be like a ridiculous amount of money, and if you were to give that to the people who actually work for you, maybe, just maybe, it would help them a little bit to make a better game. I'm not even. Yeah,
Incentivize.
the thing is, I don't blame the actual people who work directly on the game with that problem. I do pretty much blame the board with how terribly the game
Yeah.
came out. But
Mhm.
oh my god. Uh, I
Yeah.
mean, in my opinion, before I say that, do you think anybody in CD Projekt Red deserves a bonus after the?
Well, I do honestly believe that the the what's it called? The developers do earn a bonus because to be honest, for the fact that they've been rushed and abused, I think they made an okay game actually. So I do feel like they should get a bonus for literally enduring all that
Yeah,
that weight that they had to hold. So yeah, give them incentive into making the game better. Like, don't demoralize them by not giving them anything. That makes no sense to me.
yeah. I don't. I don't understand business people. I really don't understand that because
Yeah.
you know now you're getting into an issue where this obviously this story got out. It's on several game news websites, and the PR is going to be terrible. Do you ultimately, do you think this is going to have a negative effect on the PR of CD Projekt Red? Do you think people are going to actually stop buying games because of this? Do you think it could lead to something where people stop buying
The
games?
fact that
Huh?
are you talking about the the developers, like not them not getting the I'm confused now.
Well, what I'm saying is something like this, like a company
Yeah.
that it gets out that their top people, their board, are like that
Uh-huh.
greedy where they
Yeah.
won't give their developers, the people who actually do the work, um,
Hmm.
any money for a disaster that they caused. Like that's gonna
Yeah.
be really bad for PR. That's gonna look really bad publicly. So,
Yeah.
do you think that a story like this could have a negative effect on their sales, or would could it help lead to something that could lead to like a boycott on the company? Do you think people might go on strike because of it? Like people within the company might go on strike because of this?
I feel like I'm assuming that this company, CD Projekt Red, is actually a really big company,
Fairly, yeah,
right? Yeah, so like the fact that they are gonna try to try to stop people from working is, first of all, that's really, not very smart,
yeah,
because the company can just replace them. And obviously, that's hard to do, since you can't get a lot of uh people that can fill up that space just out of, like, in the middle of production, right? Or like rework. It's hard, but I mean they can do it. I mean, the fact that they've made so many bad decisions, like, by far, like, I mean, not by far, so far, like, I wouldn't be surprised that if the developers, like, said, like, we're not gonna work, like, these guys are just gonna be like, all right, then I'll just replace you.
right. See,
So, like,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say like the problem is that this runs into just like general business issues where like this company, it's a public company, it's on the stock exchange, so
Yeah.
that means that it's being publicly traded. So you have stockholders who
Mhm.
also you have to take into account, and a lot of times those people end up having a lot of control over what happens within the board. So
Yeah.
these people might have complete immunity from something that actually happens where high ranking officials or the company itself decides to boot them out. They may not
Mhm.
be able to leave, or they may not leave simply because their stockholders, their investors say no, I want this
Yeah.
person in. you know
Mm.
and it's a really, that's why taking a company public is always kind of a scary thing to do, uh,
Yeah.
because you're losing control over it. And I'm not saying that
Mhm.
like CD Projekt Red is completely controlled by its investors, but I'm just saying that's completely possible that you could have some really terrible people at the top because of investors getting a kickback from it.
Mhm.
And it's,
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the board. Why is the board getting money, first of all?
well,
That doesn't make sense to me.
not
It's
in
so
my
dumb, dude.
in my opinion, I don't really think anybody should be getting money from it. I don't think anybody deserves. I
Because of
don't.
how bad the
Well,
game is.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's fair to reward a bad job, and it's not
No, I
fair.
get what you mean, but
Like
like, again,
I'm not saying like punish the developers or anything, but I don't think that they need to get a raise because I know
mm,
that they were put through a lot of crap. I get it, but maybe if you get some better people in there and you fix the game, then
I
when it's
mean,
all said and
to
done,
be
oh yeah,
fair though, they did do good. Like, the fact that they rushed it in such a big, it was supposed to be such a big game. Like, I'm not surprised that they didn't do that bad.
no, I'm not saying that like it's
You just,
terrible.
you just, I mean, yeah, you are a harsher
Well, like I
critique.
don't know. I am actually. I
Yeah.
really don't, and I don't like the way.
You don't believe in supporting like systems that are terrible. You don't support, like, I get what you're saying,
Yeah, no, I don't
like,
support like
but I
Nintendo
don't know. I
Online.
think that's a way. I think that's like a specific, there how do I say this? There's like methods in motivation, and
Yes,
I think one a good way to motivate them is giving them a bone. Like, obviously you might disagree, but I feel like giving them something and be like, if you work harder, you might get more of a bonus, right? Like,
right.
more bonuses.
See, but that's a
Like, that's a good
two-sided.
incentive.
See, but that's a two-sided coin because You have that. You have the positive effect of it, and I agree. It 100% can work that way, and it does in a lot of cases. But there's the other side of that coin, where,
Yeah.
um, if you reward someone when they didn't do like a great job on something, that could
Yeah.
simply be incentive for that person to do that same quality of work, and then you run into the problem where they keep making the same problems, keep making the same
Yeah.
mistakes, and they're under the assumption that it's okay. It's not. That's not an issue to you as an executive in the company.
Mm.
That's the issue with it, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I only like to reward good jobs because it sets the standard that you will be
Yeah.
rewarded when you do that good of a job, and that you should
Yeah.
strive
I
for
get
that
what
kind
you're
of
saying.
work. I don't know. That's
Mm.
just me. I get where you're
Yeah.
coming from. I do, because people do that. A lot of companies do that, and it works. Uh,
Mhm.
but in some cases it doesn't. And I don't know if this is the case for CD Projekt Red, but
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for any like bad decisions, or I feel like CD Projekt Red in general is just it's terrible at decision making.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, like how? How can you screw up such a hyped game like this?
Uh,
Right? Like it was so hyped and it got dropped in like the first 2 weeks it was released.
yeah. Well, they ran into that game had the same like failed launch as Fallout 76. It's like the same thing happened again, and it happened the time before that with No Man's Sky. It's this very strange thing where like it's always these massively hyped up games always
Mm.
like collapse, and I don't know if that's just because of the pressure, and if anything they put that
Yeah.
pressure on themselves, because they're the ones who made it seem like this game is going to be like this, but really it was like that.
Yeah.
I don't really think anything was as bad as Fallout 76. That was 100% the worst thing to ever happen at launch of a video game, as far as I'm concerned. Besides maybe like ET for the Atari.
Dude, they hyped Keanu Reeves so much and
Oh,
then they literally
I know.
like screw up. Like why? Why you he like literally the reason why Keanu Reeves is loved in the public is because he's so, he's nice
He's a
and
good actor.
he's a good actor, he's caring
Hmm.
and all that. But he's an asshole now. Like he's an asshole in the game and I'm like, how do you make me hate Keanu, right?
Uh huh.
So yeah, that's
Like, I get that it's a character, but it's not like a well written character or anything. It's kind of a basic like rock star guy, like punk. Uh, I don't know. It's just I know punk is literally in the name of the game, but
yeah.
like really, he can like you're literally getting an A-list actor, and he's kind of getting a B tier part because he's not even
Yeah,
playing a
dude,
main. Like,
he's literally a schizo fucking. You know what I'm talking? He's like he's a hallucination. He's a
yeah,
virus in the character's head. Like, bruh, I wish you could be, because I think a lot of people thought that they could play as him, or at least he was like playing alongside of you, right? Like as a partner,
right.
but you don't. So that's annoying.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get that, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
I don't know that the whole game is just. I don't. I just don't get it. Like, they're going for like a GTA kind of thing with a big open world, and it doesn't work because they don't really. I mean, the thing is, they know how to make an open world game. They made The Witcher 3.
Mhm.
They know what
Is
they're
it
doing.
good?
What?
Is it good?
The Witcher 3 is like considered probably one of the best video games of all time. Just
Well, then, so the developers aren't the problem. It's just the higher ups.
yeah, kind of is. It's
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, they can make good games, clearly. Although The Witcher 3
Mhm.
had its issues at launch. It was not a perfect game at
Yeah.
launch, but they made it better. And with Cyberpunk, I'm really not seeing it actually getting better. They're fixing some things, and then there's new problems coming in. It's
Mhm.
it's one step forward, another step back. They're really not. getting anywhere. It seems like it's like they're digging a hole, but they're digging like at the bottom of the wall of the hole, so it just falls in on itself anyway. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. That game is such a mess. I don't get it. I don't get how they did it. So
How do you screw up a game that
I
badly?
I don't know. I mean, you could ask Bethesda because they know it better than anyone. That
Yikes.
no, oh my god. I mean, if you don't know the whole story of the Fallout 76 launch, my god, you need to read up on it. It's like a whole novel's worth of ridiculous. It really is. They'll make you hate Bethesda. You'll never want to play Skyrim, the best video game ever made, obviously. But yeah, so that's the issues plaguing the most recent issues plaguing CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077. More internal conflicts. The second piece of news is not. It's not. I mean, it's kind of gaming news, but it's more speculation. So there's rumors about a new Mandalorian video game.
Ooh.
Pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah.
So obviously, it's something you probably want to see. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So recently there was a huge deal about EA losing the exclusive license to develop Star Wars games. Now everybody can.
Dude, I mean, Star Wars games are pretty epic.
Yeah. But after like the mess up of Battlefront 2,
Mhm.
EA basically lost the exclusive right to make Star Wars games. So, is there any developer that you think might be developing this game?
I mean, I don't know too many game companies that are, I mean, EA loves cash, cash grabs, maybe.
Yeah. Well, no, they I guess it's possible that they're making this game. I don't know though.
I mean, to be honest though, like I know that you mean like EA, like screwed up with a lot of their
Loot
Star Wars
box.
games. But I mean, I can still see them make it. Like, dude, EA makes FIFA like every year.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like sometimes there's bugs in like FIFA, and FIFA is like honestly, it's the same game over and over again,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, wait, hold on. Let's go on a quick intermission, just a sec.
Okay.
Palisades has the rides, Palisades has the fun. Come on over. Shows and dancing are free, so's the parking, so gee. Come on over. Palisades from coast to coast, where a dime buys the most. Palisades amusement park swings all day and after dark. Ride the coaster, get cool in the waves, in the pool, you'll have fun. So come on over.
And I'm back. I'm sorry, I had somebody wanted to call me about something.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like FIFA is literally the same game, right? It's just the same thing over and over again, and there's issues with it, and a lot of people hate the game. Like the people that played the older FIFA like hate the game,
Right.
but they still buy it. They still play it.
Yeah, I know.
So to be honest, to me, EA is like one of those game companies that are like quality. What even is that? And then they just make games.
I don't
Obviously,
know.
they make. I don't know. It's like EA mass produces so many games. Like they make really good or really bad games. I don't think they've ever made a meh game, like a 50% game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I think like when they did what's it called? Freaking Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that one, yeah. Like that was really good. That was actually one of the first good games I've seen out of EA in a long time. And
Yeah.
it was really cool to see because a lot of people didn't think that a game like that could ever actually happen, just
Mhm.
because it's EA and they don't do that. Because no microtransactions, no loot boxes, no surprise mechanics, and everyone was really happy about that. And they're like, "Oh wow, they can actually make a game."
Yeah.
And then they lost the exclusive license to Star Wars, though. So I don't
Oh,
know.
they did.
Yeah,
I mean, okay. I don't know if EA lost
I think
their
that
licensing.
no, it's not that they lost the exclusivity of it. So
Oh,
they can
okay.
still make games for Star Wars, and I think they are,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
other companies are now able to, if they talk to Disney and they're like, "Hey guys, we have a really
I'm
good idea."
assuming that I feel like I know Rockstar, like, is literally too, like, focusing a lot on their Grand Theft Auto right now, and, like, they're trying to pump out as much money as they can from there. But I think Grand Theft Auto would be a pretty decent company to hold to make this Mandalorian game, to be honest,
Mhm.
because they already know how to make decent games that are open world, right? Like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead
Yeah,
Redemption, stuff like that. Like I think they know how to make an open world game, which is actually pretty hard to do. I
it
know
is.
that yeah, like it's hard because like you need to find a way that a player can like, be interested in the game while just wandering around.
Right, exactly.
Um and to be honest, Mandalorian is literally like Grand Theft Auto except Star Wars, right? In a sense, right? It's like you're
Kinda.
an outlaw where you're like traveling through space, and you can hijack like other ships. You can kill other people. Like it's literally like I feel like Rockstars can make that game to be 100% on.
Yeah. No, I would like to see a Rockstar made Star Wars game actually. I think that would be really cool, honestly. Uh
Or we can get Nintendo to do it.
no.
They just turn him into a chibi game, into literally
Uh,
like
you mean Game Freak? Yeah, let's get Game Freak in it. Yeah,
no, no,
they're
no,
gonna make
it's
it
not.
incredibly lazy and not trying.
They're
Uh
just gonna make Mandalorian into a Pokemon.
yeah. So, okay, here is the other speculation that I have and that a lot of people have been talking about
Uh-huh.
since EA lost that exclusivity on their license. Could
Yeah.
we see a resurgence of something like LucasArts, which was the Lucasfilm in-house game studio? Could we see something
Um,
like that come back? That is
I
the
mean,
big hmm.
if that happens, right? Then why would they make it so that other companies can make other Star Wars games, right? If there was an in-house game, right? Like an in-house game development company, like a video games company, just for Star Wars, why would they give up their exclusivity to other companies that can probably have better funding?
I don't know.
You
I
know?
mean, Disney has a lot of money.
No, I get it, but it's like I don't think Disney is. Has Disney made their own games before? Dude,
Yeah.
I'm not educated
So
in that.
they did have an in-house studio for a while.
Hmm.
They made
What are
like
they called?
I
Disney.
don't
There's
remember what the studio was actually called. It was like
Disney
Disney Interactive or
Video
something.
Games Company.
I think it was called like Disney Interactive.
I mean, the fact that I don't even know it is an issue.
It's called like Disney
Yeah,
Interactive,
Disney
right?
Interactive Studios. What the?
Okay. They made like the Epic Mickey games and
Oh, Disney
Disney
Infinity.
Infinity. Yeah,
Oh, yikes, man.
those are
No, 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 they
the
can't.
big
No,
winners.
please don't make them. Dude, they're gonna make them into those. They're gonna make the Mandalorian game into such a like into those like cartoony, soft, squishy kind of looking
Oh no, I really
art
hope not.
style.
I do hope they
Dude, if
do
they do,
something like Fallen Order.
dude, I just want
Oh
Rockstar to do it
god.
because I feel like Rockstars literally knows how to make a game that's interesting for people our age, right?
Hmm.
And like older. And Mandalorian, the TV show as well as just overall Star Wars with the life of a Mandalorian, it's it's more adult than it is for kids, right?
Right.
There's a lot of like underworld stuff. I mean, a kid can watch it. I'm not saying they can't. It's just like some of the stuff that are there. It's more interesting for people our age.
Uh huh.
So gearing it towards like a video game, a Mandalorian for kids, you're cutting out like 80% of your target, like the people that actually liked Mandalorian.
Right. I mean,
So yeah,
if you look up LucasArts, they made a lot of good games. I gotta say.
But they're not the ones that are gonna make it though.
No, but I was talking
We
about.
don't know, but
We were talking about an in-house game studio for
yeah.
Lucasfilm. LucasArts used to be
Monkey
that,
Island.
and Disney killed it.
Oh yeah, Republic Commando.
They made a
That
lot.
was actually a decent.
They made a lot of games. You know, the Force Unleashed games. You had Lego Star. They helped develop the Lego Star Wars games. You had
Was the Force Unleashed game good though?
yeah, they were pretty good.
I remember Republic Commando though. It was literally just Halo but Star Wars.
There were hold on, let me find them. There was like Rogues, Rebel Strike, the Rebel Strike games, Rogue Squadron. Those were really good. They looked amazing on the GameCube. I have the third one on the GameCube. They're like actually really good.
Dude, I need to come to your house and play these games because I can't play these games. This is ridiculous.
But yeah, that LucasArts made great games. They did, and they were about to make a really good one called Star Wars 1313. It's a very well known canceled game. It was in development, and then Disney bought Lucasfilm, and then they killed LucasArts, and Star Wars 1313 never happened. So,
Bro, they made Lego Star Wars?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They helped
That's
develop
epic.
those.
They made Lego Indiana Jones? Dude, bruh. Bring back LucasArts. God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do remember this company.
So yeah, I wish that something like that would happen again because they did make really good games.
Like revive LucasArts.
Yeah, I mean if they're gonna stick with EA on this, that's
Which
fine.
I don't want.
Yeah, listen, I'm fine with it.
Actually, I'm surprised that they made Battlefront. I think it's Battlefront, right?
Yeah, what about it?
Free? It's free,
It's
right?
Free?
No
way.
It's one of the Star Wars games. Star Wars games. EA. No, they made like one of the Battlefront. They made free.
I thought that game was
so
dead.
a lot of people. Huh?
I thought that game was dead. I don't know.
Actually, like some people still play it. It's surprising. The fact that they got it to be free for like I think a week or something.
Yeah.
They like a lot of people downloaded it and start playing it. So there's been a lot of traffic there. And which is interesting is because their servers couldn't handle how many people downloaded and were playing it, so they had to like shut it down for like couple days just to like expand.
It's kind of a
like
yikes.
for the I mean,
funny.
it's one way to increase your or revive your dead game.
I mean, honestly, it's unfair for me to say that Battlefront 2 is like a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's just a flawed game. The story, Battlefront, like the story.
I don't know the story of it. I just like the fact that you can fight.
Yeah, like the single player story campaign. It's fine. You know, it looks good. It's fairly fun. Whatever. It gets a pass. The multiplayer it's fun. I like it. Not as much as the older Battlefront games were better. They were made by LucasArts. But you know they were fine. And then they started introducing these loot boxes and paywalls where you have to pay to progress. And that's when they started getting a bunch of shit. And you know that's what happens. So
unfortunate.
Yeah.
I love companies that make paywalls, dude. That's so epic.
It is. I mean, EA is literally known as the bane of video games, but they still make a lot of money anyway. That's the problem. Is that they can, you know, exist. Everybody hates them. Literally everybody who plays video games does not like EA as a company, but they definitely own at least one EA game. I know I do.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm a loser. I don't.
What? You gotta buy an EA game and then say, why did I buy this? It's part of being a gamer.
Of course.
I mean,
yeah,
they weren't always bad, but like, I'd say the past 10 years or so, it's been pretty rough. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's about all and to be, again, I want to make this clear now. This article, it's a rumor. There's a rumor that a Mandalorian game is in the works. This has not been confirmed by anyone at Disney or EA or any company. This is simply a rumor. So take it all with a grain of salt. I'm going to make that very clear.
Epic.
But yeah, this is pretty much all I have. It's been a slow. The new Pokemon Snap came out. I haven't played
Oh
it.
god.
I don't really care.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It looks
Pokemon,
cool.
Pokemon is dead. If it's mobile, it's dead.
It's not.
a dead
It's not
game.
mobile. It's on the Switch.
Even more of a dead game.
It's not. It's not a traditional game. I mean, it looks cool. I don't know. Looks like a fun game. I don't really care about Pokemon Snap, so I don't. Whatever.
It looks kind of dumb.
I mean, it's just a on rails photography game. It was originally on the N64, and everyone liked it. So they made another one.
So it's a port.
No. It's
Or is it like a newer?
It's a completely new game. It's just the same like thing, same style. It's like a sequel. It's a sequel.
I see.
Yeah, no, it's not a port. I don't think they're gonna go porting a ton of N64 games on Switch unless it's on Nintendo Switch Online. Honestly, I'm waiting for there to be like a new collection of Rare games on the Switch, and by Rare I'm talking about the company Rare, like Rareware. You know, your Banjo Kazooie, your
Yeah.
oh god, what's his name? The Donkey Kong Country games. Which, if we could get some more of those actually made by Rare, I don't mind like Tropical Freeze, but if we got like Rare made ones, that'd be cool. What's his face? Conker's Bad Fur Day. If we could get that, like an actually good like new Conker game, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not gonna happen. Anyway, I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything else to talk about?
No. I mean, we're done. Yeah. Other than like, how's school, man? Like,
Oh, it's fine. It's
no, it's not. Stop lying. You literally were complaining about how you had so many projects
I
today.
do have a lot of projects today. I do. It's true.
Yeah.
Took
Yeah,
time away
kids,
from said
kids,
projects.
don't procrastinate. You're gonna suffer.
I didn't.
Thank God I did all of that stuff like yesterday and the day before, dude. Thank God.
I didn't have time yesterday. No, I didn't really have time the day before either. I don't know. I mean, I could have, but I chose not to, and I knew that was gonna happen. It's fine.
Unfortunate.
It's all calculated. I knew that, you know, if I'm gonna ruin one day of my week, it's gonna be the one day that I'm always looking forward to.
Epic.
You got to make the whole week terrible. You can't have one good day. That's not allowed. But yeah, I do feel like no, honestly, like procrastination aside, I do feel like a lot of teachers have been packing on the work recently. I don't know if that's because they're okay. Well, in some cases, I do know it's because they're behind because of COVID makes doing class difficult. Sometimes they're restricted on the amount of class time that they have, the amount of periods per week compared to a normal year. But it's still it's not my problem that you have to work overtime, and it shouldn't I shouldn't have to suffer
for it.
for an issue that you and I understand
It's not my problem. It's your problem.
And like, listen, I completely get like the fact this is all new for this year, but here's the thing, and it's May. It was almost May, and you haven't figured it out. Like, you always complain to us when we turn something in late or we're late to Zoom or whatever. And you're like, guys, it's May. You should be ready by now. And I was like, oh well, you know what? You should too. And I'm not talking about all teachers here. That would be unfair. I'm sure a lot of them are, they've gotten into the routine, but there are definitely some that are still having trouble putting it all together, and that's fine. Get it.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta pick up the pace, or cut us a little bit of slack. That's about all I can ask for.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, kind of cringe.
It is kind of cringe. Yeah. That's it.
Well, okay. So, thank you guys for tuning in for episode 6.
Seven.
Episode 7. I'm
Seven.
losing count, dude.
It's-
I'm losing count. I am going insane. But yeah, thank you guys. Subscribe, like, and comment.
as always.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want us to like be more toxic? I don't understand. Get fucking comments on our thing. No, I'm joking. I don't care. But yeah, yeah, thank you for watching. See you guys next episode.
See you guys then.